Welcome back to our channel, Las Hermanas.
The sisters.
My name is Yuvia.
My name's Annette.
And today we're going to be catching up with our childhood and how we were raised. So we told y'all this was going to take a few parts because our life has a lot in it. A lot of drama, no, I'm just kidding. Just a lot of stuff that, you know, we went through and whatever.
Part 2. Yeah,
this is like part 2. So if you haven't watched the first part, go ahead and go to our channel. It's called Our Childhood and Our Upbringing. I think that's what it is. If not, you know, you will find it on our channel, on our videos list. If you don't want to watch it, that's cool too. To each his own. To each his own. I was going to say that I know my hair looks hella fucked up, okay? I'm aware. Like, this shit is bad, okay? I had it red before. Chopped it off. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my hair, but soon it'll look good. Soon it'll look good.
It grows back.
Yeah, hair grows back.
I'm already due for another haircut.
Yeah, so, and then we're going through, well, I'm going through a wardrobe change as well. But okay, so we are drinking some what is this?
Moscato.
Moscato with leche. If you guys don't know what that is, Google it. Google is free.
My favorite.
She goes, cheers.
Anything with leches.
But nonetheless, welcome to our conversation. If you're at home, you know, chilling on a Sunday, drink with us, chill with us. Our videos aren't that long.
We try not to make them that long.
Yeah, but it's impossible, honestly.
Sometimes they end up long.
All right. So, where we left off on our last video.
I was 13. And you would have been like, I don't know, 6.
Like 6. We were in Illinois, okay? The little chickadees, Fanny and Beto were born. Our little brother and little sister. And then
Beto was born in like 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after he was born, that's when we left? Yeah. I don't remember. I was so little.
So he was born in 2000. I would have, if he's, damn, he's 20.
He's 21.
He'll be 22. Wow. Yeah. I don't even remember how old I was when in 2000. I was probably, because I was graduated in 2006. Wow. Yeah. So he was born in 2000. And then I think like a couple of months after he was born, he actually got really sick. He got pneumonia. And then we had to be in the hospital with him for, I don't know how long it was.
Yeah.
It seemed like a month. I don't know. We used to, I remember like us staying there sometimes and then waking up and having to go to school.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a baby. The milk that my mom would feed him, the Similac and all that stuff, like he would get rashes from it and he would throw it up. And yeah, he couldn't keep anything down. And for years, they tried to like figure out what was wrong with him. Until finally, I think it was 6 years old that they found out he had kidney failure. Or like kidney disease. Imagine like from a baby to 6 years old, nothing but hospital visits nonstop. Yeah. It was like almost every day.
And they think that it might have been because he got pneumonia.
Yeah.
At such a young age that like it just, what's it called? Damaged his kidneys pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason why he also got pneumonia was because we were out in the streets. We were living in our van during the winter, and he was born in December. So, you know, he was a newborn when we were out living in the van. We had previously lived with our aunt and our uncle. And because of something that was said, we got kicked out. And like, I remember that day too. I remember coming to my aunt's and uncle's house from school. And like all of our clothes was like in the front yard. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Like I don't even
remember that.
I remember that. I remember I was pulling up and all of our clothes was on the front yard of their house. And
that's sad.
Yeah,
that's
and my mom was like crying and she was picking everything up, and you know, it was a lot for me. I was just like, what the fuck? Like I didn't know what was going on, but I know I could feel, even now that I talk about it, I could feel what I felt in that moment. So Yeah, we ended up kicked out, and then we had to live in our van, which it was an Astro van. Like, I don't know, that's what they were called, right?
Yeah.
Astro van. And I think it was it the white one?
It was the brown one.
Okay, it was the brown one. And since my dad had like taken out all like the stuff from the back or whatever, like we put beds in there, we put a bed. And we like, my mom and my dad would sleep on the bed with the babies, and then me and my siblings like would sleep on the floor. My sister, because she was older, excuse me, she had to, you know, she needed her privacy and stuff like that. And she ended up having to live with one of our other aunts and our uncles, and then...
But that wasn't after like a while. I didn't live with them right away. Because I do remember staying in the van, and I remember first we did stay at a couple hotels. We went from hotel to hotel until our parents ran out of money, and then
we couldn't stay in the hotels anymore. And I remember our food was like tostadas de frijoles. Like, if you guys don't speak Spanish, that's literally like a tortilla shell with beans. We would literally just open up the cans and scrape the beans out and like put it on the tortilla shell, and then like my mom would get like avocado and lettuce and stuff and just put it on there, and we would eat. That's all we would eat. Or like maruchan, instant soup from the cup. So that was our food. But yeah, you know, that's how we were living for a little while.
I remember eating a lot of those like canned Vienna sausages.
Yeah, with crackers.
Yeah. The Ritz crackers.
Which we didn't mind, and we thought they were good.
That was like, we were all excited every time we got some.
We were like, oh yeah, we call them the little weenies. Like, I want a little weenie. And I always wanted to fight for the middle one. I always wanted the middle one.
Oh, yeah. That's the one that I eat first when I open the can.
Yeah. We always wanted to fight for the middle one. It was like, I'm getting the middle one. No, I'm getting
That's so freaking... That was funny.
Yeah.
Emily, we used to fight for...
a Vienna sausage.
Just because you wanted a specific one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I do remember I had to stay with one of my uncles because, you know, I needed to shower every single day. I was going to middle school. It wasn't like, you know, elementary school where kids don't really care. And middle school is different, and everybody pretty much judges you for everything.
Yeah.
What you wear, who you hang out with. I think that's when I started figuring out that people at school were even like super mean. Yeah.
My parents had to drop me off like a block away or like a little bit further away from like the school because they didn't want them to find out that we were living in our van, or else we would be taken away. I remember that. And I was going to Lincoln Elementary School, and that one was on the west side. It's closed down now, actually. I passed by there last time I was there, and it was closed down. It's not
Maybe they made a new
anymore.
one.
Maybe, because that building was old.
Probably made a new location.
Yeah. And that school was like literally, if you take Lake Street all the way down, going towards, I want to say,
and this is in Aurora. So
yeah,
you guys are from Aurora, Illinois.
Illinois.
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah, this is in Aurora, Illinois. So like, if you're going on Lake Street towards Tinseltown, you're going the wrong way. You got to go the other way. And like, if you keep going straight down, like literally the school's going to be on the right side. Yeah. Like, it's like before you hit another town.
So for the people that live in Aurora, you guys would know. The people that don't, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't. So, yeah. Sorry about that.
Well, they're talking to them like if they live
like if
there.
they know and shit, my bad. But if, I don't know if it comes out on Google, but whatever. So yeah, I used to go to that school. That was like maybe the first time I really liked a teacher, because I think she knew. I honestly think she knew.
I thought you liked your elementary school teacher.
Miss Cardenas, never forget you.
Or the
from
kindergarten.
Barbaro.
The kindergarten one.
Yeah, Miss Cardenas.
Yeah, I thought that was your favorite.
Yeah, she was, but then I changed.
There was no loyalty there.
That was Miss Jackson. She was my 4th grade teacher, I think.
Oh my gosh. There was no loyalty there.
Hey, I mean, once I would leave, I wouldn't see them again. Miss Jackson wrote back to me when I went to Allen. I went to Allen Elementary School, and they were like, you could write a letter to whoever you want. And I was like, I'm gonna write a letter to Miss Jackson. So I wrote a letter to Miss Jackson. She was really nice to me too.
Wow.
She would like sell snacks for a quarter, and like I wasn't able to bring a quarter all the time, so she would front me some. She'd be like, "I'll front you some cookies."
Did you ever pay her back?
Yeah, I would pay her back. I'd be like, "Here you go, Miss Jackson, for the cookies." You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I mean, I think that was when 9/11 happened. I was in her class. 9/11 happened when I was in her class.
Really? What grade was that in?
I think it was 4th grade. Because I remember us sitting in class and we were all like Miss Jackson put on the TV and 9/11 happened, and we were just like, what?
You were in 4th grade?
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Must have been in 8th grade then.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was in, what?
Yeah.
2011?
But shout out to the good teachers that are actually nice to their students, because if it wasn't for my teachers, honestly, I wouldn't really know what kindness was, because nobody really showed it to us besides my teachers, and I think that's it. And as a child, you know, like that's only kind of my grandma. Yeah, but other than that, there was a lot of hate going on with the family members and a lot of gossip and just annoying shit, you know. So
yeah, but we did move around a lot.
yeah, we did. I've been to 13 elementary schools. I don't know if I mentioned that before.
I don't know.
But I've been to 13 elementary schools. Not just in, I think in Aurora, it was a good handful to 2 handfuls. And then when we moved to Texas and Colorado, I went to other elementary schools out there.
Yeah, we'll talk about Colorado in a little bit. But yeah, and then I don't know like how long it took for us to like find a place to stay. But I do remember, the one that I remember the most was the house where we lived in the upstairs apartment that you had to go in through the back. Yeah, I'll never forget that place because some crazy stuff went down there.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh yeah.
I remember that. We used to live off of Lincoln in Aurora, Illinois. So, back to that apartment. I remember some things from there, and I don't remember most of the things there. I do remember the traumatic ones.
Yeah. I think our grandma was staying with us there for a bit.
Yeah, Doña Rosa.
Both our grandmas then, because I remember Abuelita Tacha.
Yeah, she did stay, and my madrina went to visit, and my Tiana. Okay. So, sorry, we have to, like, remember things and stuff. Especially because I was very little. I don't remember everything. But, yeah, during that time, my mom, she was the only one that was working, right?
Yeah.
My dad wasn't working.
Nope. So, I had to take care of my siblings most of the time, you know. So, basically feed them, make sure they did their homework, take a shower. And then once everything was done with them, then I could finally do my homework, which was really late at night. And then I had to make sure that I did really good, because, you know, me being a perfectionist, I wanted straight A's in school. So, yeah, I had to.
That's
really
one thing, like, she was really good at her school and, you know, being the grown-up in the house, because my dad never got up. Like, he literally would sit there. She would serve him food. Yeah. She would have to pick up after him too, and us. I started to notice that stuff during that age. I kind of was always, I kind of started questioning as to why he treated her a certain way.
And I was still like 13 around this time. 12, 13.
I was just like, why do you treat her like a servant? Yeah, literally. I was just like,
I think when I turned 13, since, you know, it's your first year, you're in your teens and stuff, and then you're around other teenagers at school, I think I started questioning things a little bit more and figuring out that because I was, you know, growing, getting a little bit taller, I could actually, like, start defending myself or my siblings, specifically my mom, seeing as, like, our parents didn't have the best dynamic, you know, our dad drinking heavily at the time. He couldn't even hold a job anymore. So And then with his anger problem, it would get out of control. So, you know, unfortunately, there was domestic violence throughout a lot of her youth. So I think around that time, it was when I kind of started standing up for my mom a little bit. And I remember one of the times, I don't know what they would get mad about, because we wouldn't hear that part. We would just hear when, like, you know, you hear the screaming and the yelling.
We were mostly in our rooms.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we didn't want to. We didn't feel like we could come out of our rooms because it was just not, you know.
Yeah. We didn't feel
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would just stay in our rooms most of the time, and
we would even lock the door. I would lock the door.
I think you remember that you would tell me that. You were like, yeah, I lock my door or something like that.
I would lock my door.
Okay, yeah, make sure you lock the door, because you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that time that they were fighting, ironically, my mom's best friend at the time was there with us. She was spending the night. So we heard them yelling, and then I walked out. I went to their room, and I just hear my mom crying and stuff, talking about how he's all mad and that he's throwing things around. My little brother was over there in the crib, which was a little bit scary, because some of the stuff one of the things that he threw, one of the objects was like the
baby
swing kind of landed pretty close to the crib.
Yeah, my mom thought
that he had killed her brother. Yeah. So that's why she was all like panicking and stuff. But it turned out my little brother was fine, so I picked him up, and then I think I took him to the room, probably. That's
when you walked in to our room?
It was my room.
Okay.
We were all in my room.
Okay.
And I don't know who I handed him over to. Probably my mom's friend. And then I think my mom's friend and you were trying to figure out how to call 911.
Yeah.
And then I left again out of the room because they were in the kitchen and they were still arguing. And all I remember was like I come out and he's like, you know, he has her, this is very graphic. So he has her grab.
Disclaimer, this is very graphic. So if you cannot deal with domestic violence and graphic stuff like this, please click out of the video.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to trigger anything.
But I remember him like somehow grabbing her by the hair and then like hitting her, but then at the same time, because I had grabbed, we had taken our little brother Beto already, but then he had Junior in his arms.
Oh yeah, I remember.
This happened a couple times where I had to kind of like magically grab him in the middle of all that going on, and then like, you know, have him go away. And then as soon as like I saw like, because after that there was a point where like I just saw blood on the floor, so I'm like, oh my god, like my mom is bleeding, you know. And I freaked out because I'm thinking as a kid, you're like, oh my god, like he's gonna kill somebody. You know, like, so my instinct, for some reason, I just jumped on his back to try and distract him from like, you know, him hurting her more than she already was, and that actually did help, and he let her go. So then my mom went into the room, and we all went to my room, and we locked the door. And I don't know if you guys had already called the cops or not.
I don't think so, because I still remember, I think it was before, I don't remember if it was before we locked the door or after, but I remember going into the bathroom because I think that was the time that you like tried to jump on my dad. I don't know. This was the bathroom incident.
I actually did. Yeah.
Yeah, like when they were in the bathroom. And like I went in there because you jumped on his back, and I was like, oh shit, you know, I was like, shit, like it's gonna go down. I was a skinny ass little fucking kid. Like, what the fuck was I gonna do, you know? But I went in there because I was like, you know, I don't know, I guess out of shock or something. I remember walking in there and like kind of sitting, I don't know, like where the toilet is. The toilet was facing towards the door, and like there was like a mirror on the left side of the bathroom, you know, walking out towards the door. And my dad had my mom against the mirror, and I was like sitting next to the toilet. Like I kind of just ducked down behind the toilet because I was so scared. Because like once I saw that, I was just like, what the fuck's going on? Like I didn't know what was happening. But he had her, and I thought he was choking her, but he actually grabbed her. Like he held her from the neck, but he also was like he wasn't choking her, but he was like, he had his fingers in her mouth, and I thought he was gonna rip her tongue out. And like when he took his hand out, like there was like just blood everywhere, and we thought it was her tongue. Like I thought he ripped it out, but it was actually the little skin that you have under your tongue. He ripped that. So like with his fingers, he just ripped it, and
it was a lot of force.
Yeah, to rip like skin like that. But yeah.
But then eventually we did manage to call 911, and then we gave them the address. So I don't know if it was me or you who called, but I know it had to be us because my mom didn't know English and my mom's friend didn't know English. So it was either one of us or both of us.
I had to go get the cop.
Yeah, I remember both of us. So then we called them and they're like, yeah, you know, we'll be there.
Yeah.
And then I think we saw the lights, but someone, I don't know if it was my mom, she was like, how are they gonna know
where to go?
Because the entrance was in the back.
It was like literally like it was the house, and the entrance to go to where we were, you had to go through the side, and then you had to go like through the backyard, and then you would see the steps going upstairs to the second floor. Yeah.
So then we decide to get out of through my window, and my bedroom window, like the porch was literally right there. So all you have to do is just
jump on the porch and then go down the stairs.
So just step, and then we had no shoes on.
Yeah, we were barefoot.
Came out however it was, and
I remember.
Yeah.
I was first because I was like, I don't know, I was like,
she was little, so
yeah, so I was like walking, and then I remember like going towards the side of the house where the gate was and stuff. And as soon as I opened the gate, I remember seeing a light and a boot, and I was like, this is the cop. So I looked up, the cop's there.
They're like, come.
I was like, come this way. You know, we had to be really quiet because my mom was like, you guys, or my mom's friend. She was like, you guys have to be really quiet because if he finds out that we called the cops, like, you don't know how it's going to happen.
Plus, especially, like, for him to know that we were the ones that, like, got out of the window, you know, and told him where to go.
And, he would have gotten even more mad. And, like, you know, we were trying to not make the situation bigger than what it already was. So, So my mom's friend was calming him down in the kitchen, though.
Oh,
she was
that's
the one,
what it was.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make you a coffee." Like she was trying to talk to him and kind of calm him down. And like he was going for it, you know. I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like he's calming down, you know. So like finally, we were able to get out of the window because of my mom's friend distracting him and stuff. And my mom was like, "Was she in the room?" I think she was already in the room. She had like one of his t-shirts. And she was just like bleeding and stuff. Like she couldn't even fucking talk. So
yeah, and then we had to come back in through the window while they like knocked on the door, and he didn't really. I don't know how long it took for him to open it.
It took him a little while.
Right away, or
he didn't want to open it, but then my mom's trying to open it.
Oh well. Yeah. If he didn't open the door, they probably would have just came through the window. Yeah. It would have been like coming through the window.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious, them going through the window. But yeah, so that's, I mean, there was more, like, I remember other incidents close to that one, but that's the one I remember the most, especially because that was the last one that I saw, you know, and that one was the one that sent my mom to the hospital because then the ambulance came, and because her nose was broken, they had to take her to the emergency room. So and then I had to ride with her on the thing.
The ambulance.
Yeah, so that's why I remember it the most.
Like right away, as soon as the cops came in, like I started grabbing my dad's clothes, like a shirt and everything, because he didn't have a shirt on or shoes. So I started grabbing socks, his shoes, his shirt. I was just like, you know, here you go, like take you.
She was like, got everything ready for you.
Yeah, like it was already an instinct, you know, because my mom had already called the cops on him a few times, and but yeah,
that was worse.
Yeah,
and then after that, I think I only saw him one time, where he like I don't remember why he had gone to the house. I think he was trying to get back with my mom or something. But you know, me, I wasn't buying it. I never did. I mean, I always told my mom, since I can remember, to just leave him, but
she did end up getting a restraining order.
A couple of them.
She had to, because especially after like the whole incident happened, like, you know, the cops were like, you need to file a restraining order. So it was kind of like mandatory.
And they were going to press charges with or without her. And then they asked me questions, and I honestly told them the truth, because in the process of me like trying to get him off of my mom, I did scratch his back. So he had some scratches on his back, and they wanted to know like
why he had scratches.
You know, like, oh, what happened? Is that what? And I'm like, no, that was me. That was not my mom. She couldn't even possibly like defend herself the way it was going. So
yeah, and then he was over here trying to say that my mom had fallen down the stairs.
Yeah,
because in the second floor, I guess before the whole house used to be connected, so they had stairs leading up to the second floor. Because it was like one of those old school houses, like Victorian kind of ways, or Victorian modeled, whatever. So like, so it was a big house. But yeah, so like the stairs that led to the second floor, it was blocked. So there was like no way that my mom was gonna fall down the stairs. Which was not true. But yeah, I had seen him again because he did show up once and he was trying to get back with my mom, but this was when the restraining order was already there. And he pretty much, I think he was drunk because he did some crazy shit. Like my mom, because he's like, oh, I want to see the kids. So my mom took me, Junior, and Fanny. I think she had Beto too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't go.
Yeah, it was us four. And I think you were in school.
That and I wouldn't have gone.
And so like we went downstairs. He like had parked across the street because, you know, restraining order. So we went downstairs and like we went into the van, and this was the Astro van, and you know, there wasn't no seats in the back. So it was like there was no carpet either. It was just the metal. And like so yeah, he was trying to get back with my mom, and I guess my mom was like, no, like we're not gonna get back and blah blah. So he fucking sped off. He sped off, and the door was still open to the back of the van. There was no seatbelts. There was nothing for us to hold ourselves with. And my mom, like, we were just like in the back, like sitting there talking to him, I guess, so he could just see us. But yeah, he sped off. My mom's all trying to like hold us so we won't fly out. And like, I remember she had Beto in the other hand in one arm, and she was trying to hold us and then trying to like figure out how to hold herself. So like, and she was on her knees, and like the floor of the van like had like bumps, you know, like, I don't know, the bottom of the car. But yeah, she was like, her knees were hurting. Like I could see it in her face. I remember like us, like the turns he was doing. He wanted us to fly out the fucking van because he was making those turns. Like it was crazy. I was just like, after he dropped us off, I was just like, man, this lady better not take this back, because I swear to God, I almost died. Like what the fuck? I was so scared. I was so fucking scared. But you know.
Yeah. That's why I never wanted to see him again after that. Once you get older, you start having a voice, and you learn how to use it. So I definitely used mine. And then, what's it called? I don't know, like what happened to him, like where he went. He probably, I know he missed court and stuff. So there was like a warrant out for his arrest. So I think he had left to Denver, right? And then, and you know how that goes when women are in a cycle of abuse. They tend to take back their aggressor a couple times. So here we are. You know, I was literally a month away from finishing 8th grade and, you know, graduating with my friends and everything. Nope, my mom decides, well, we're gonna go to Denver, Colorado. You know, your dad's over there, he's doing better now, and he has a job or whatnot. So here we all go.
All the way to Denver.
Yeah. I don't remember if we took the bus or not.
I think so.
Or did my mom have a car at that point? I can't remember.
Wasn't it the van?
Probably.
Yeah,
but I don't
remember that part.
I just remember getting there.
Before we move on, I don't think we talked about when we lived in the basement.
That was years before, because Beto wasn't born.
Yeah, so this was when Fanny was barely born, right?
Yeah.
So we forgot to talk about this. Like I said, we forget things, but this was before my baby brother was born. My little sister had already been born. We were living in a basement, and my dad was also abusive there. We literally, like, there was two rooms in the basement. And one of the rooms was so freaking cold. Like, it was so cold. There was like no heater or ventilation in there or something, but that shit was cold as hell. And the basement was hella creepy. But I remember we were little, and he one day my grandma was there, which is his mom. She was there, and he was crazy. I don't know if he was drunk or whatever, but he started getting into my mom, and like he started chasing us with a freaking knife. And he chased us all the way outside. And he even chased my grandma. Like, my grandma's outside, like, trying to tell him, like, no. Like, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you too. Like, fuck. I was like, and that day, it was the first day that the snow fell. Because I remember it was snowing. And it was the first time that it snowed that day. But, yeah. That's crazy. So, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of the times too, like when they would get into arguments, like the lady from upstairs, my mom's friend, she would come downstairs and like try to break it up and stuff, because
yeah, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So so back to Colorado. So we moved over there. I remember the first day of, I don't remember much about going to that middle school over there in Colorado, honestly. I remember the first day just feeling awkward, and then I didn't know anybody. I don't even think I made any friends in that 1 month that I was there. I don't know what you remember about school.
I remember that school was weird. It was very weird because just the layout of the school was weird. And not only that, but like the teacher was a biatch, because one time like we would have like little group readings or whatever. We would get into groups and read, and like they would give us books. And one time I forgot my book outside the house, and it rained.
Oh, that's sad.
And I was so upset. I was like, fuck, I forgot the book outside and it rained. I didn't want to take it back to school. And when I did, the teacher literally, like, she yelled at me, and she was like, how is this acceptable? And like, she made me cry. I was crying. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, it was horrible. And I also remember I don't remember the name of the school, but I remember that in that school, there was this little boy in my class, and he was molesting another student there. And I saw that. Yeah, I was always seeing some crazy shit, first of all. But
damn.
Yeah, in art class, we used to, I don't know if you guys, in your art classes, you guys had those art tables, you know, the black top ones. They were like big tables, and you had to sit on a stool or whatever. Well, I used to sit all the way to the back, because I was one of those students. I was like, I don't want nobody to look at me, blah, blah. And in front of me, the little girl and the little boy would sit next to each other. And I remember, like, he would just, like, he had this urge to stick his hands into the little girl's pants.
Wow.
And I was just like, I was sitting there like,
why didn't you just say anything?
I did say something. Like, the first time I saw something, I was just like, should I say something? It was literally like eating me up. And finally, like, I told the little girl, I'm like, you have to tell someone, you know, because she like turned back at me, like, and she looked so upset. And I was just like, bro, she did not just look at me. Like, man, this shit is crazy. Like, I was just so shocked that I was seeing that, especially from little kids. And then when I talked to her about it, she didn't want to say anything. So the next day, I went up to my art teacher and I told her, I was like, you know, there's something that you need to address with these students, because he keeps touching her, and you know, she's not gonna say anything, so I'm telling you, I saw it. So, you know, and the teacher didn't do anything. She ignored it.
Wow.
There was nothing done.
You didn't go to the principal office?
No, I didn't say anything after that, because after the teacher didn't do what she was supposed to do, I was like, they're not gonna believe me, you know.
You're still supposed, I guess as a kid you think those things, but you know, that's why it's important for people who are parents to let your kids know that when they see stuff like that, they have to tell someone. And if they tell the teacher and she doesn't do anything, you got to go above the teacher, you know, to the principal, the vice principal. And if they still don't do anything, tell them to tell you guys, and then you can go to the school district board and stuff.
And as teachers, it's your job to keep these freaking kids safe, especially during school time. Like, hello. And if somebody tells you, if a kid comes up to you and tells you, like, this little boy's touching that little girl, you think a little kid's gonna, like, imagine that or just say that because they want to say that. Like, no, little kids don't be thinking about stuff like that.
Yeah, especially sometimes, you know, children who see that kind of stuff at home, they think it's normal. They don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, what if that little boy was going through something and that's why he was acting on it with somebody else? Like, you never know.
Yeah.
Later on, the little boy went missing for a few days, and like when he came back, he had like a bloodshot eye. So you just never know. Like, I mean, you know, it was just crazy. That was a crazy experience. That's all I remember from the freaking school.
It's like, thank God I never experienced anything like that.
I experienced that like a few times. Like, God damn. Like,
you I don't know why, but like the weirdest stuff always happens to her, which we will talk about later on. But what's it called? Yeah, and when we were there, like, we thought things were gonna get better. Well, my mom did, because I didn't really think that they were. But when you're 13, 14, you don't have a say, you know, where you're gonna stay. Pretty much, you have to go wherever your parents tell you to go. So I do remember, like, things got really bad. I remember, well, before we get to the bad stuff, my mom used to take us to play basketball to this little park that was like a couple, I don't want to say houses really, because it wasn't really like houses. It was just like a couple like yards away or whatever, like maybe half a block away. And we would go and play there every day because we didn't really want to be at the house, you know, with him being there. And there, so there, it was the park, and then there was like a trailer right next to it. There was like this little old man that lived there, and every time we went, he would say hi to us, and we would, you know, say hi to him, have just small talk, conversation, not really
just like a neighborly thing,
you know, not getting to know each other and telling each other's detailed life or whatnot.
Who knew that this person would have played a big role in our lives? Yeah.
So I don't remember how long it was after this, but I do remember a very significant night where we are in my room. I think I was listening to Britney Spears because, you know, I loved Britney Spears growing up. And I don't know, I heard yelling over there and stuff like that. My mom comes into our room, and then he follows her in there. He had like a cup of maruchan, you know, and it had the hot water in there. I don't know, they were saying stuff to each other, and the next thing I know, like, the soup just goes flying, and it lands all over my mom's, like, left side. Oh, and she was wearing this shirt, you know, where her shoulders, like, you could see, yeah. So I saw that, and obviously she's gonna scream in pain. It's like hot boiling water on your skin.
I mean, I've burned myself on my hand like that a few times. Yeah. I'm like, ah, you know?
So I got really mad, and I yelled at him, and then he just looked at me, and he's like, "What is wrong with you?" And then he just laughed and walks away as if nothing happened. And then I don't know why, like, something triggered in me at that moment, and I decided to follow him, talking shit to him pretty much. And I remember being in the hallway and him, like, telling me, I don't know what it was, but I think I told him to leave my mom alone, and he's like, "Oh, or what?" And I'm like, "Or I'm gonna call my grandma." So I'm here thinking, you know, maybe because he didn't want my grandma to know anything about what was going on. And he's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna call her." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Well, here, call her." And he gives me the phone. At this time, you know, people had home phones still. So he gives me the phone. He's like, "Here, call her." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I'll call her tomorrow." He's like, "No, you're gonna call her now." I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna call her right now." He's like, "Yes, you are." He's like, "You're gonna call her right now or else I'm gonna hit you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna call her." And he's like, so he got ready, you know, he took his belt off and everything. And I was like, man, I'm about to get the
beating out of my life.
And I literally,
not that it's funny, you guys, but you know, we laugh because it's like a nervous thing or whatever. Like,
But I mean, I laughed because of what was going on in my mind at the time, of me telling myself like, well, like you know, you wanted to be all high and mighty, so you know, now you gotta, there's a saying, you know, like now you gotta like walk the walk or something, you know.
You talk the talk, now you gotta walk the walk.
So I literally told myself like, okay, you know, prepare yourself for, you know, pretty much you're gonna basically get hit or whatnot. And I know other people would have probably ran away, like ran to the room and you know, locked the door or something. But the reason why I didn't run off was because I wanted to show him that I wasn't scared of him anymore, and that I was gonna stand up for myself and for my mom and my siblings. And I always, you know, for people, like when you want to protect them, you know, people that you love, you like prefer for you to be the one sometimes to go through certain things, you know. And I think I felt like my mom had already been through enough, even though, I mean, you know, she kind of kept putting herself in that position by going back, but it wasn't something that I wanted her to, you know, have to go through again. So I'm like, I guess I'm gonna be the one to take one for the team, sort of, to speak. So as I stood there, you know, I didn't blink, I didn't cry. I looked at him straight in the eye and I told him to do it. I was like, hit me. And for some reason, I don't know what happened, he just looked at me and he turned around and went back to sleep. And like, I was like, oh my goodness, like, thank God, you know, because I'm pretty sure that would have been like really bad for me, you know. But I mean, I stood my ground, and at least I was able to, like, I guess, save my mom some more agony. And I think that also helped my mom kind of see that things were not gonna change. And you know, and I told her, I'm like, you know, you need to figure out, we can't stay here. I'm like, because this is not going to be the first time that I'm going to tell him something. And the next time that I do, like, something bad might happen. To her,
like, or to, what if he would have, like, taken it out on us by her standing up to him? That's also something that happens when you do that. So,
yeah, I don't know. Like, I just remember the night before us, like, on having our last day of school, I just remember her coming in. She was like,
let me, before you talk about that part, I have something to say before that. So I remember when we were living there, my mom was sleeping in their room, and their room was big, so they had like a couch and a TV in there. And I remember I went in there to watch TV, and I fell asleep on the couch, and the couch was facing the wall towards the TV, and their bed was behind the couch. And so my dad hadn't gotten home yet, so like to keep my mom company, I stayed in the couch. And like I remember hearing him come home, and he was drunk, and I remember him like trying to, like, you know, go to fourth base with my mom while I was in the room. And I was hearing everything, and like I could hear him like telling her like, why not? And like my mom was like, because I don't want to, you know. And like finally, like he got pissed off, and he, like, it was a very aggressive like moment, because he was forcing her to do this with him. And I was hearing everything, and I was just kind of like, you know, I was scared, because I was like, I don't want to hear them, like, you know, and I don't want to hear my mom, like, it's not one of those things of like, ew, your parents, like, no, it's like, no matter if you're with this person, you know. So like I knew that in that moment, like, something was happening. And he left hella pissed because my mom wasn't budging, so he left. And that same night was the night that my mom she had a very important conversation with me. And like I had gone to sit up with her, and I was like, you know, are you okay? Like, she was crying, and I was like, you know, I felt really bad. And so like she was crying, and she started telling me like, I don't even know why you defend your dad so much. I don't even know why you love him so much. And I was just kind of sitting there like, you know, like, I don't know, like, because he's my dad, I guess. I'm supposed to love him, you know? And she started telling me, like, there's a lot of things that you don't know about your dad. It's a very hard conversation. Okay. So she started telling me, like, you know, there's a lot of things that you don't know about your dad. And, like, I was asking her, like, what? Like, just tell me. Like, I knew that there was something that she always wanted to tell me, but she never fucking told me. So, she would always look at me that way, too. She would always be like, I don't, you know, I want to tell you something. But I was little. I was so little. Like, at the time, well, I was, like, what, in elementary school? So, I think fourth grade, because I had to repeat fourth grade. Cause yeah. So, I think that's, like I said, I don't remember everything specifically, but yeah, so yeah, she was like telling me, like, I don't know why you love your dad. Like, there's things that your dad has done that are very bad. And I told her, like, you know, just tell me why. Like, and she ended up telling me, and I was just like, I was in shock. I was very much shocked. I didn't even, like, as a child, I learned what sex was very fast, and I just didn't know how bad sexual acts could be. I didn't know that, you know, it could be done to children. I didn't know, you know, it was just like a mind-blowing kind of moment. And so, yeah, after that, I was like, I grew this, like, rage inside, you know. I was like, I felt so pissed off. I felt so angry. And this is hard to talk about, but yeah, so I was pissed off for a very long time, but that's pretty much where it started. Like, I felt so angry. Like, I was already angry before because my dad was a freaking asshole, but then after finding this out, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is crazy. And my energy changed towards him because I was always with him. I was a daddy's girl, you know, and everything. Like, he would even take a shower with me, you know, but after that, I was like, I felt weird. I felt weird around him. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to be around him by myself. I think he picked up on that because he would look at me a certain way after that. But yeah, after that, I was just like, what the fuck? And my energy changed towards my dad. So, and then, yeah. And then after that, I was like, yeah. I don't want to be here no more. I was like, let's go. I'm ready to go. Pack our bags. Vámonos. Not only that, but he was also an asshole to our neighbor upstairs. There was this young couple that lived upstairs, and that was his friend, his guy friend. And he had his girlfriend. And they were a young couple, like I said. And, like, the girl, she was so pretty. She reminded me of Selena. And she also sang, and she did covers of Selena. And she was, like, really good. And she was super pretty, like, morenita, you know, like, very pretty.
The thing I remembered from her was I learned how to... I know this is not safe at all. But I remember when we used to go with her somewhere, she would drive.
She would drop us off at school sometimes.
Well, she would drive with her knee.
Yeah.
And I was like...
She would be, like, doing her mascara, driving with her fucking knee or her, you know, lip gloss. She was one of those. She was the it girl.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And that was so mesmerized. Like, oh
yeah,
my
she
God.
was cool.
I was like, when I start driving, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Which I used to.
Excuse me.
Not anymore.
Yeah, she was really pretty.
You know, the steering wheel has to be really low in order for you to use your knees and stuff.
Yeah.
Can't do it in her car.
Because my car is so small.
Well, no, it's just the steering wheel is so high up.
You know you can move it, right?
Well, that's too much work.
But yeah, so, like, she used to dress very, like, cowboyish, kind of, like, with the bell-bottom jeans, low-waisted, you know, and, like, she had a really nice body, so she could rock it, her little bandana tops, and her little boots, you know, she was really cute. And for that same reason that she was really pretty, her boyfriend at the time would be so jealous. He was so freaking jealous, and they would get into fights, too, and we would hear it all the time. And one time I remember it was very bad. And I remember hearing, we heard everything being thrown upstairs. We heard the TV, all types of shit. And I remember, I think she had like a scar on her face too. Was that? I don't know if like, yeah, she had like a scar on her face. I don't know if it was like before that fight or after that fight, but I remember she was telling us like, yeah, that he had smashed the mirror in the bathroom and had cut her face because she was so pretty. He was telling her like, you're too pretty, and like cutting her at the same time. Like,
wow.
He was very
I just know that it was so bad that our parents had to step in pretty much.
My dad didn't want my mom to step in. My dad was always like, no, leave her, like let her get her ass beat type of shit.
Yeah, but that day was pretty bad. Yeah. And then after that, like, I know they broke up because we didn't see her no more. We were kind of sad because, you know, we liked talking to her.
Yeah, she was really nice to us.
We're like, oh, we're not gonna see her anymore.
Yeah,
it's kind of, you know, sad.
She was like an older sister in the moment, you know.
But yeah, so now going back to the day that, so I remember her coming in and she was like, take some of your stuff, but don't take everything. You know, pack only like half of your things and leave the rest pretty much. So we did that, and then we put it in our luggage, and then she went outside. There was this bush coming out like our entrance or whatever, and she hid our bags there. So then I was scared the whole night. Like, I had anxiety. I was like, oh my God, like, what if he notices? Like, what if he notices that half of our stuff is gone? What if he notices the bags outside? And I also remember that same day, before we packed and everything, my mom had taken us to, you know, the park. And my mom asked me, she's like, oh, well, because we saw the old man, and she's like, well, ask him if he can do us the favor of holding the luggage. And I'm thinking, I don't know if he's gonna want to, because we don't really know him like that. We just say hi to him, but we don't talk to him like that. And she said, well, just ask him. I'm like, fine, you know, here I go. Not wanting to ask him, but, you know,
she had to be the translator and a lot of things.
So I just asked him, like, you know, like, my mom wants to know if you can do us the favor, if you could just hold our luggage here for throughout the day, and then my mom's gonna come pick it up in the afternoon before we get out of school. We had a half day the next day, or last day of school. So I just told him what time we were dropping it off in the morning before we went to school, and then what time she was gonna pick it up. And surprisingly, he said yes. Like, I thought he was gonna say no, and I'm like, our plan's gonna get ruined, we're not gonna be able to get away. But yeah, he said yes, and I was surprised.
Did he even ask anything?
No, he just said, yeah, sure. So I told my mom, you know, that he had said yes, and then that's when, you know, we packed half of our stuff, only the most important stuff. I definitely took my Britney Spears CDs with me.
And Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
And Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, you know, those were important. Could have left everything else behind, but not the Britney Spears CD.
She was the best singer, by the way. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
She would put on her freaking headphones and her CD player. And like, and I was just like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'll be laying there alone.
God, man, those are things that filled my soul. It's just when you're trying to mess it up for me. But
you're trying to mess with my sleep. What are you talking about?
It helped me sleep.
Because we always have shared a room.
Yep. And then, so yeah, so I know I think my mom, the story goes that my mom told our dad that the next day they were going to have like some show thing at her school. I don't know exactly like what the words were, but I just know that she was going to tell him that. And he didn't even know that we had a half day. He thought that we had a full day of school. So she's like, yeah, you know, they're going to have something there at UVA school, and I'm going to take the kids because they're going to have clowns and
some type of party.
Yeah, stuff. Like some like
event
fair, you know, at her school. And he was like,
he was never involved in our school stuff. He was like, yeah, whatever.
And then I was thinking, I'm like, wow, like what if he says, well, I'll go with you,
or like
one time, you know. So there was a lot of things that could have gone wrong with this. Surprisingly, they did not.
Thank God everything went right. Literally.
And he was like, yeah, you know, you can go and take the kids with you. Because she had to ask for permission for everything. He wouldn't even let her, like, look out the window because
or he thought wear shorts.
She was looking at someone. Yeah. I couldn't even wear mini skirts. how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so my mom, I know in the morning when we dropped off the luggage, we asked him if he could cover it with a tarp, just in case, you know, he passed by and we didn't want him to recognize the luggage and then start asking questions to the old man. So he did. He covered them up. And then I know my mom picked them up on her way, picking us up from school. I think she picked you guys up first, right? And then I was last.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was the last one. And she picked us up, and we still had to go pump gas, which made me nervous because I'm thinking the whole time we're at the gas station.
Yeah, because it was like, you know, like in the area, like there's only a few gas stations, so
even though we were in Denver, like we were on the outskirts, so we weren't like close where there's more population. Yeah. So I was thinking the whole time, like, oh my god, what if he pulls up and puts gas in this gas station? And then my mom still kept in contact with the girl that lived upstairs, you know. So she was gonna meet us because we were going to go to her apartment and stay the night there, because her mom was coming to visit, and then we were gonna follow her mom to, where does she live?
Was it Texas?
No, I don't remember. Like, I don't know if she lived in like, I can't remember the state that she lived in, but she was gonna drive us like halfway, pretty much. We were gonna follow her
in like Texas
halfway,
Texas,
and then yeah. So we waited at the gas station, we pumped gas, and then I'm like, okay, what's the holdup? And my mom's like, well, we still have to wait for this girl because this is where we're gonna meet her. And I'm like, oh Lord, like please don't let anything happen while we're waiting for her. And then she finally shows up, and I was like, oh, Lord, baby Jesus, you know. We go to her apartment, but we had to park the van at the mall that was by her house, so that in case he went over there, you know, because her ex-boyfriend knew where she lived. And obviously we knew that he was going to ask him, like, oh, you know, for help, because he knew my mom didn't know anyone else but this girl.
Didn't they go? Yeah,
so they didn't park it outside her apartment for that reason. And then so we were there already, and then we heard a knock, and then she's like,
we all stood upright. We were like looking at each other. We're like,
and he's like, oh, it's, you know, so and so and blah 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 and this and that. And then we heard his voice, and we're like, you know,
yeah, we were like,
oh my god, like we got caught pretty much.
Yeah.
And then so we're freaking out, and the girl's like, oh, well, go hide in the closet. We have to hide in the closet of one of her rooms. And the good thing was that I think her mom was already there.
Yeah.
So it was her and her mom who like opened the door, which made it better because then
he wasn't going to be as intrusive.
Yeah, especially like her ex-boyfriend wasn't going to be like, oh, you know, she didn't have to deal with
violent or anything like that.
Yeah. So then I remember us hiding in the closet, and I was just praying because our little brother Beto at the time was small.
A baby, so he could have cried, and like that would have been it for us.
So he wasn't like a baby, but he was younger to the point where he could make noise or cry about something. So we were praying like, please, like, you know, don't cry right now, or don't make a sound, like nobody make a sound. And we're all just hiding in a closet.
Excuse me.
And then they came in, we heard them that they were in the house, and she was like, no, you know, I haven't seen them, I haven't spoken to them. And then they left magically. We were like, oh, it's like we're finally in the clear. It was a relief because we were gonna leave super early the next day, so we knew, like, you know, once they had already checked,
then we're gonna check again.
Yeah. And I think
I think I was still scared because if he knew, like, she stayed, like, he could have been parking outside and been like, maybe they'll come out, you know.
Yeah, surprisingly they did not.
My mom did have to go back though because of my pillow.
Oh my god! I don't know why you would do that.
I don't know why either. Like I was obsessed with this pillow. I wouldn't even let nobody wash the pillow because I was like, if you wash it, it's gonna give me nightmares, and it would. It was weird, but you know, to each his own. Everybody has a blanket.
I threw it in the laundry a couple times.
Yeah, I was so pissed at her, but yeah. But yeah, so they had to go get my fucking pillow and like.
Oh wow, you would.
I think
you would be the one to almost catch us.
I think the girl did it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Wow. How did she get it anyways?
She probably went into the basement or something while he was sleeping.
That's crazy. I don't know how it happened, honestly. I just remember us being safe. And that was a very impactful experience for me because so that whole ordeal that we lived in Colorado, I actually wrote about it for one of my school plays in high school. We were all putting together a play, and we each kind of like wrote down like a little scene version of certain things that like teens go through, and we all read what we wrote, and in each category, like there was one for domestic violence, one for drugs, abortion, can't remember the rest, but they would pick, you know, the story that they liked the most, and they ended up picking mine, and I had to be the narrator, you know, for my story, and then I had to do my own script for it. I had to pick the people that were gonna like act in there, you know, my classmates that were gonna act in the scene. And yeah, like I said, it was, and I actually wrote a paper about that experience for college. I think it was in my English class. And it was, she asked us to write about something that like changed our lives. And I mostly wrote it basically, not so much of the experience, but because of the old man, you know, because he just never really knew what that one small tiny favor meant for us. All of us, you know, and where, you know, that got us like.
Literally, I say that he was an angel in disguise because, like, he could have said no. He could have been like, no, I know you. Like, what if?
Yeah. What if you have drugs in there?
Yeah. What if you're sex trafficking and like, you know, stuff like.
There was like so many things that could have gone wrong with that, but he was, you know, he was nice enough to do it. And until this day, I still have that paper. Actually, I keep copies of everything that I've ever written for schools, mostly for college. But yeah, that was a very important like thing for me. I know for the longest time, I had mentioned it in our last video, like I never talked about the abuse that was going on at home with anybody at school. I never mentioned it to friends, teachers, like to them, like I portrayed that everything was fine, which is the reason why me getting good grades was so important. Because I didn't want anybody to suspect anything. So I figured I have to be above, you know, average. I had to be the best in my class if I could, so that they could be like, oh, well, there's nothing going wrong here. Like, you know, she's doing great. She never misses school. She's always on time. She's never late. You know, I had all these awards for perfect attendance and high honor roll. I did graduate from middle school with like a lot of honors or whatever.
It was all downhill with me. They knew something was wrong with me.
It was all that pent-up anger that she had.
I was so angry, like,
inside of her.
Even now as an adult, I feel like my anger issues are, you know, still there, but I feel like I'm trying to manage them better. Yeah.
And then, so for me, you know, doing that piece in school for my drama class, it was very important because that really helped me break out of a lot of things. I used to be very shy. I mean, I'm reserved now, you know, but back then I was extremely shy. I didn't really talk to anybody unless they talked to me first. And like I said, I never talked about it with anybody until that day that I read it to my classmates, and then putting it there for the whole school to see it. Because even though we were doing it in our drama class, during our period, other classes were welcome to come. So there was a lot of teachers who, you know, took their class to go see the play and stuff. And I don't remember how many times we had to repeat it because it was in the smaller auditorium at East Aurora High School. If y'all remember, I had Mrs. Hawks during that time. She's like the best drama teacher ever. Because like I said, she was somebody that really helped me come out of my shell and not be scared.
And challenge yourself.
To tell people about the stuff that we went through. So even though it was all of the stuff that we lived were very scary and traumatic, and
we lived in fear for a very long time.
That was actually one of the lines in the
we really did. We really did. That's why now I think that's why me growing up and being so outspoken and feeling the need to speak my truth all the time around everybody, and it didn't matter who it was so important to me, because that was me breaking out of my fear.
Yeah. Especially because every single day from morning till, you know, nighttime, when you finally fall asleep, all day long, you have this anxiety, you have fear. You don't know what the day is going to bring for you, because it could be a good day, it could be a bad day, it could be a mixture of both, you know, things. You just never really knew like where our day was going to end up. We just never knew where, you know, where we stood. We didn't have any stability, especially moving around so much and
being in shelters. Like we were in homeless shelters and in like this one shelter that was like for women that get mistreated.
Mutual Ground.
That was I think the second shelter we went to, and like no men were allowed there. But the first shelter we went to was Hesed House in Aurora, Illinois.
All the homeless
and
people
all the homeless people go there. We were there for a little while, but because there was people smoking cigarettes and my baby brother was a baby, like obviously that's not a good environment. Those people getting naked and stuff. So like
everybody
that's not...
slipped
yeah.
left in this big room, and then they would just give you this little
mats, the little gym mats. I don't know if you guys remember the gym mats back
then. Thing that you just put on the floor pretty much, and everyone shared a bathroom. It was crazy. Their food was good though.
Yeah, they always have some good ass food.
They do.
I remember they took like a picture of us with our little IDs. I used to have it. I don't know if I threw it out. Like I had it for the longest time, and I think I finally was like, you need to throw this away. Like I don't know why you keep hanging on to it. But yeah, it's little things like that I would hang on to. Like just, I don't know, as a memory, I guess. And when I would look at myself in that picture, I looked at this little girl that was like so fragile and scared, and
she was very slim.
Yeah, I was like, my cheeks
always did her hair in a ponytail.
Yep, and I had the bangs. I had the bang. The bang. Yeah, oh, if I still have it though, I'm gonna look for it, and if I still have it, we'll post it on the next video. Or I'll bring it out.
And for the record, we didn't always get along. We used to fight a lot.
Me and her used to fight a lot.
And I think it had to do with the fact that like she always defended our dad. And was like, you know,
I saw him as like this like
I would be so angry, like it would make me so mad. Like how could you know, how could you love this person? How could you why, you know? So yeah, that was like a big
and I didn't understand why the hell she didn't like my dad until, you know, later on in life.
But yeah, like I said, even though those moments were, you know, very traumatic, and I'd say we did carry them for a good portion of our life until we finally learned to let things go and forgive not just other people but yourself. Because sometimes you subconsciously blame yourself. You think that maybe it was something that I did, or maybe it was something that I said. But at the end of the day,
my fault that he or she reacted that way towards me. Like,
because I know for her, like I remember, you know, moments where I would tell my mom, like, why do you continue to go back? And one of her excuses, which was not a correct one because it was not true, she would say that it was because of Yuvia. You know, oh, it's because your sister Yuvia, you know, she misses him too much and she cries for him all the time and blah, 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 and this and that. But that was just her putting an excuse to why she was doing something that ultimately it was her the one that decided to do it. It had nothing to do with me or with Yuvia, you know, or with anybody else. It was she the one who just couldn't let things go and move on.
Because of that same reason as well. That's why I'm very truthful, because I witnessed myself how a lie could hurt someone else. Like because of her lying, it was hurting me. So it was like, you know, now like I've tried to always maintain my honesty and be truthful and stuff like that. So that's very important to me. So But, you know.
Two as both.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, even though they were very difficult, at the same time, I'm grateful for them because they have made me be more kind to other people, have more compassion, be able to be more empathetic and relate to other people and what they're going through, and try your best to not judge someone, because I know it's easy for all of us to sit here and be like, oh, well, I would have never done that in their position, or, oh my God, how could that person do that? So
easy to say that, but you don't know.
Yeah. But then at the same time, you know, nobody does the same thing or reacts the same way when they're in the same situation. Exactly. You really don't know how you're going to react to something, or how, you know, how you're going to feel. So it's, you know, like I said, we try our best not to be judgy to other people and try to have as much empathy as we can towards other people. And I think that it's made me a better person, and I've been able to help other people along the way, even if it's just
as friends,
listening to them. Yeah.
Just as a like, if you go somewhere and you talk to someone, and like, we have this thing that people love, like just opening up to us. And I think that because we went through a lot, maybe people can sense that or something. But we have an open heart for that same reason. So, or
because we're not gonna sit there and judge you and be like, oh my God, like, I can't believe you did that, or why would you do that? You know,
we have a very clear understanding that everybody takes everything differently, and everybody's different, and lives different lives, and you know.
Or you try to put yourself in that other person's shoes and been like, okay, like, how would I have reacted if I would have been in your position? And I'm like, I probably would have reacted worse. Yeah. Because you just don't know at that very precise moment what your thoughts are going to be, what your feelings are going to be. You know, there's a lot of things that factor into why people make certain decisions or opinions, or why or their viewpoints or things like that. So it's you know, better to just the only thing that you can do is just focus on yourself and do better. You know.
Try to, you know, heal yourself and do the work, and, you know, just be better than you were yesterday.
Well, you cannot heal other people.
It's
not your job.
No, you heal yourself.
We learned that the hard way.
Yes.
Which I think we kind of
spoke about
some stuff. And that's why we wanted to share some of the stuff that we've been through with you guys, because you guys will be able to see, like, oh, so that's why they had that relationship pattern, you know, and that's why you kept repeating it, and it takes you a while to kind of learn lessons sometimes. Or I know you go through stuff and you're like, well, I'm never doing that again, and that's never going to happen to me again. But no situation is the same. Like, things won't come to you again the same way. You know, you're gonna be like, oh, well, the next time that I see this, I'll know. But the next time it
could be disguised in a whole different bundle.
That same energy comes around. It's in a whole different approach that you've never seen before. So you think it's safe, and then it's not. But you know, that's just the learning process. That
one thing that we also have to respect is other people's life patterns. Like, if you are sitting there listening to someone and they're like complaining about something or whatever, you could sit there and tell them, like, well, you should do this and you should do that, or I advise you to do this and I advise you to do that. But if they don't take the initiative and make the action, then they're not going to do it. If they're not ready, they're not going to do it. All you can do is really be there for them and listen to them. And that's it. Like, there's nothing else.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal.
When they don't listen, because they won't.
It's not about you. It's about them and what they're going through. And that's what they have to go through in order to get to where they need to be. So
people will make certain decisions whenever they're ready.
Yep.
You know, I know for us, we asked ourselves for a really long time, like, why were our parents that way? You know, why couldn't our dad just be a dad and not be so engulfed in all of these addictions and all these problems that he had? And why couldn't my mom be more strong and, you know,
and loving and
out of that situation, and not have us there for so long? But because we can't say that it was just all on him, because my mom also had, you know, her share of the story there, because she kept going back.
Mm-hmm.
And when you keep putting yourself in the same position, at some point you have some responsibility. Like the first time that something bad happens to you, so let's say for example, you know, the first time that your boyfriend, girlfriend cheats on you,
was that saying shame on you?
Yeah, well, it's shame on them first.
Yeah, shame on them.
Right. The second or third, fourth time, it'll be shame on you, because you already knew that they were a cheater, and you still went back to and put yourself in that possibility of being cheated on again.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have to take ownership for the choices that you make and the part that you have to play in the story.
Khloe Kardashian. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I don't even know what to say about that, because we're probably gonna get sued just for mentioning her name.
Hey, I mean, it's the truth though. It's the truth.
If you guys don't hear from us,
we got sued by the Kardashians. Anyways, but yeah, that's what we're trying to get at.
Yeah. Like, Kim Kardashian. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, but yeah.
But it's hilarious.
But for now, we'll leave you guys with this. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. Just like I said,
we still have we have plenty of more time. Yeah, we still have a long.
You guys are gonna have to wait for the next episode, y'all. So
yeah,
make sure y'all stay tuned.
I mean, I forgot what I was gonna say. I know it happens. Oh yeah, yeah, because we're gonna be doing one of these like once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
So you'll get like a little episode.
Yeah, like kind of like Euphoria, but like better in real life. I'm just kidding. Like, Euphoria is good. Euphoria is good.
We'll get to the good stuff later on.
Yeah,
you know, our party days.
Oh my gosh. Just kidding. Ding, 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 ding.
And so you're gonna get to see the different sides of Annette and Julia.
Yeah, we really we wilded out.
Yeah, I know there's like stuff that we've mentioned on our episodes that like none of my friends have ever heard, honestly. Because there's a lot of, because you don't want to keep going through life constantly like telling your story like 1,000 times and like talking about, oh my god, so like my parents
they were crazy.
Yeah.
Like so
at some point you're like, you know what, like just not even gonna
especially
talk about
being
it.
So detailed, like we said, there's some things that we don't remember and there's some things that we do. So like, you know, the things that we do remember, we remember details, and we would have to be detailed with what we say. So now we're just gonna be like, just go to our YouTube, bro. You want to go to our YouTube,
click on episode 2,
click on episode 2. You're gonna
and get the answer that you want. Yeah. So but yeah, guys, I think that's
sums it up for tonight.
Good enough for today.
Yeah,
because I need a refill.
We're able to drink up in this, but yeah, I'm probably gonna have to blur out a lot of like words because of YouTube, especially the grape word that I said.
You like the grape word?
Yeah. But we'll see you guys next Sunday. Thanks for joining us in our conversation. I hope that you guys are getting the hang of these type of videos, you know, with the drinks. It could be coffee, hot chocolate, I don't care.
Tea
drink
sometimes.
with us, tea sometimes, yeah.
Later on, we're hoping
your snacks.
We'll have some foods.
Yeah, some foods. But yeah, you guys, thank you guys for joining us.
Yes.
We'll see you guys next Sunday. Don't forget, love and light. Love yourself and be yourself always. We love y'all.
Enjoy your weekend.
Yes, have a good week.
Don't forget to catch the new episode of Euphoria.
Yeah. We'll probably end up doing like a watch party or something, or like a reaction video to one of the episodes.
Well, the perfect one would have been last Sunday.
Oh, I know.
Or the Sunday before that. But
the Cassie and Maddie one. Oh, everybody's like, Team Maddie, Team Cassie. I'm like, I don't care. I'm trying to see the episode.
Team Jules.
Right, Team Jules. Team Jules. All right, y'all. But peace out. See y'all next time.
Bye.